we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glasser coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, also as well, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, of course, the great folks at LakersBall.com. Go ahead and check out Ox 1947 today, talking free agency right there for you at LakersBall.com. Plus, he owns a company you got to check out every single time when you go ahead and you need a new lawn transformed into something much more magical than it is today, and you live in the SoCal area. Go ahead and check out Simblades, Simblades with a Y.com. Plus, also, as well, we've got some great folks, two of which, man, Lakerholics.com. Go ahead and check out Jamie Sweet, aka Mr. Five Things, and also as well the number one Lakers blogger that's out there, Laker Tom. They do a lot of great work, and they do it today at Lakerholics.com. Our good friend Stone Hansen, he's going to stop by here in Vegas later this week for Summer League. But right now, you know he's doing some good work for the Upside Swings right there for you at Upside Swings NBA Draft Podcast. Our good friend John McCalion, he runs his own YouTube channel. He has a lot of great conversations. Go ahead and check them out today. And speaking of YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe today. Hit that little Joe right down there below and go ahead and do so, because if you do, you get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Fast Break. And if you could do that and follow and like all of our social media, it is sincerely appreciated. Well, the Lakers seemingly starting to slow down with the transactions after 48 hours of really busy work. There's still some spots to go, and that's something I want to go ahead and stress, something that Zangerstein brought up to us before we went on the air. But I want to go ahead and talk about that, plus some of the major moves today and some of the more different moves that I want to talk about with Joe we really didn't cover on the past couple shows. Good man indeed. You got to go ahead and check out what we're doing today with him, and of course LakersBall.com, and of course his own company, Simblades with the Y.com. It is Joe Soro. Joe, I wanted to go ahead and ask, we're 3 days now into free agency. The movement, of course, is slowing down. The number of open spots is slowing down. You've got Phoenix, getting Eric Gordon on the cheap, I thought was a pretty good move, but we don't know how much he has left in the tank. They're lining up some good people, chasing that ring, my friend. They're chasing that ring. Your thoughts, though, so far on what happened today? I've got some things I want to throw at you, but your thoughts so far. Lonnie Walker IV is the major Laker name involved, but looks like he's getting another chance in Brooklyn.
Just filling in the remaining roster spots throughout the NBA. The Lonnie Walker defection to the Nets is simply just not enough room for this current Laker roster. And the Lakers are likely waiting to see which center will be available to play for the veteran minimum. That's all that's left. And we're going to prepare for a little bit of Summer League tomorrow. Hoping to watch
the
something.
California Classic is
I'm hoping to watch something a little bit there if the day presents itself, and then we might have a little bit of back and forth on Game Time on LakersBall.com. So for those of you who haven't signed on to LakersBall.com, go ahead and do so. The Game Time threads are pretty cool. I know I've been spending a lot more time on playback this last year than Game Time, which I kind of feel bad because Game Time is always a good...
So you don't want me to do a playback?
No. A playback puts money in some of our guys' pockets. So, and I believe also that it's going to only enhance the show's growth.
I know, but you didn't want me to run a playback tomorrow for everyone out there?
Oh, you can run a playback. I'm gonna attempt to do both.
Okay.
Whereas I wasn't doing it before. It's not that difficult. It's 2 screens. Obviously, I'm verbal on playback, whereas the other one I don't have to be verbal.
Okay, you can chew them out in person, and if you ever join us for a playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, it is Joe Uncensored.
Yeah, so, the uncensored part, and I there's no other word to use in that setup. Censored is a little played out. Unfiltered is a little played out. I'm going to think of a good name to describe the attitude during playback. It's more a reaction. It's us being reacting, reactionary. That's the word I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it's just a stress reliever. It's nothing more. It'll come off a little aggressive. It'll come off abusive to some degree,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not. I don't have any ill will against anyone out there that I've never met before. It's just reacting to the game and reacting to the kind of the dialogue and the actions of players as the game is going along, whether it's our guys or the opposing team.
So we get into day 3 of NBA free agency. Not too many different changes. Again, Lonnie Walker did take an offer for 1 year for Brooklyn. Miles Bridges, his career and his life changed in so many different ways due to some outside law issues, but he is signing a $7.9 million qualifying offer to play with Charlotte, but that'll make him a free agent to see if he can rebound his career in life, because he was once close to signing a massive extension and on the verge of it, got into some legal trouble and his life careened from there. So let's see if he can get his life back on track. Some of the other names that are out there, I did want to go ahead and talk about, Patty Mills going ahead through to Oklahoma City. One name I didn't mention yesterday was Obi Toppin, who was traded to Indiana for a couple second round picks. A lot of people still, especially in New York, have a lot of interest and faith in the potential Obi Toppin, and they were very sad to see him continuously playing behind Julius Randle. Your thoughts on Obi Toppin and what he can do for Indiana?
He'll be a good role player, but the issue in New York is they need a superstar. They need a first tier superstar. Unfortunately, they're not going to get a chance at getting Damian Lillard. That's the guy that would probably change a few things in New York and make things very, very interesting in New York with Jalen Brunson. And if you're not packaging Julius Randle in a trade, that could be a pretty formidable three. New York basketball has not been very good for almost 25 years now. There was one significant run when Carmelo got there, but that's pretty much it. They haven't really made any serious noise since 1999 when they went to the finals of the strike-shortened season. New York needs a superstar. They have a second-tier guy in Jalen Brunson.
Mm-hmm.
They have Julius Randle, who you can say is a 3-4 tier type player.
Mm-hmm.
They need a one. And when Damian Lillard requested a trade, I know that Stephen A. Smith was quickly excited until he realized 2 seconds later that the New York Knicks weren't a potential request for Damian Lillard. Only the Brooklyn Nets and Miami Heat, again, according to reports out there. Unfortunately, I don't see Damian Lillard going anywhere but Miami. Miami is got the structure for what he needs right now, which is the best opportunity to win a championship. And there's also a second star there that's known to be very, very valuable when it matters. So by having Dame Lillard and Jimmy Butler on the same team with Bam Adebayo, that's a formidable three in the East. And it's very likely at that point that they're probably, barring any injury, of course, that they'll probably make a return to the finals in the East, because the East wavers too much in its quality. You don't know who's going to show up sometimes, and Miami seems to be the one team that always shows up year in and year out, at least the last 3-4 years.
Your thoughts, though, on a competitor to the Lakers in Phoenix Suns? They've gotten a lot of guys, interesting players, Eubanks, Yuta Watanabe, and Eric Gordon signed earlier today. I mean, if these guys pan out, when at one time the Lakers were heavily coveting Eric Gordon for at the trade deadline. Your thoughts on getting Eric Gordon? He was not offered a contract by the Clippers to extend for $20 million. He became a free agent, and looks like he's doing some ring chasing in Phoenix.
I don't really hold anything for Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon, I believe, is done. I believe he's on his last leg here. The Phoenix Suns have done a really good job filling out the roster with players that are actually valuable in their spots,
Hmm.
and for the amount of contracts that they're getting them at. What it's going to come down to really at the end with Phoenix is, can Frank Vogel tap into Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton and make them uh, play like grown men when they're in the playoffs when it matters? Because they haven't been able to do that. I know that sounds kind of aggressive, but it's true.
Yes.
It's true. They had a chance in 2021 to put that to bed. They didn't. They couldn't finish off Milwaukee being up 2-0, and they've been reeling ever since and ruining a 64 and 18 uh, first seed run that should have for sure won that year in 2022. But they just can't kind of get over the hump. And until I see those two guys go over the hump, and of course Kevin Durant, I don't know what his health's going to be like. Bradley Beal, is he going to shoot better with all that talent around him? Maybe. It's definitely going to be a good team regular season wise, but will they show up in the playoffs? We won't know that for another year.
They still have some defense and rebounding issues to address. The players, as good as signings as you can get for the minimums, still don't address some of the issues that they need to get. Again, also as well, a point guard, unless the rumors of Trevor moving, Booker, excuse me, Booker moving over to the point guard spot and becoming more of a distributor. I understand that will be more upon him, but they still need a regular point guard at times to distribute the ball. They really haven't addressed those needs. They got some good shooters, some people that they can surround them with as far as that can go ahead and fill it up a little bit, but they still have some areas of weakness that you can exploit.
They played better without Chris Paul when he got injured. Devin Booker had a couple of good games as the primary ball handler. It's not his best position, but if they need it for a couple of games, I think it's good. I think the main issue right now is DeAndre Ayton and what will happen during the year
Hmm.
in terms of, is he going to be a player that's going to be analyzed for the first 3-4 months, or are they going to stick with him the whole way? I still believe there's a chance he gets traded between now and the deadline for someone, for something. I just don't
If
know where
Vogel
yet.
can't work his magic with him.
Correct. And if Monty Williams couldn't work his magic with DeAndre Ayton, I don't know what Frank Vogel's going to do, but we're going to get a chance to see. We can say, hey, he tapped into Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard was having issues until he came to LA
Hmm.
the second time, obviously, and was a productive player. So maybe he can do that for DeAndre Ayton. I don't know. It's. I'm not really worried about Phoenix until I
Hmm.
have to worry about Phoenix. The Denver Nuggets are a team that you're going to have to deal with, although I do think they're going to feel a little bit of satisfaction from this year's win. And the Lakers are very determined. They have revamped the roster in a very, very good way. They are a starting center away from really, really, really being the favorites in my book. I'm not saying that because I'm a Laker fan. It's just, if you get a Christian Wood at the minimum, you can start him. You can start him at the center position. Whether they do or not, I don't know. But it's it's just it's we're going by paper right now. I can't really assess how these guys are going to play until it happens. There was a time when you could, but you didn't have the irritation of guys not playing every game. Uh, Kristaps Porzingis was touted as this guy who had a great season, had one of his best seasons ever, and played the whole year. And then when I looked at his games played, he missed 17 games this year.
Hmm.
So I think our definition of playing all year has completely changed. It looks like as long as you play 60 games, you've played all year.
I'll tell you what, my friend, though, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens for the rest of free agency. We're going to talk about the Lakers stuff that's going on right now. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. We are talking day 3 of NBA free agency right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Truly appreciate everybody watching and listening. And again, everybody that's been a part of what we're doing all weekend long. Just been so great to have you here. Please subscribe today to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break. Had record numbers, over 200 subscribers that are new to us right here within the past month. We're just so appreciative of everything that you're doing for us. Record numbers, viewing wise, all weekend long. Joe and I are so immensely grateful for all your support right here at the Lakers Fast Break. But Joe, when it comes to the Lakers, wanted to go ahead and mention something Zangerstein threw out at us in regards to how the slots play out, because remember the tweet that I said yesterday that David Benjamin, was getting the lead, that the Lakers were looking to only find one more slot, one more player to fill a slot out of the two that they had, because they were looking for a big guy. She just found out that she sent this along to us. Zangerstein said that in the new CBA, it might change what Rob Pelinka might be doing this summer, but in the new CBA, if they want to use the 3 two-way slots that currently Cole Swider, uh, uh, Hodge, and Castleton, those are the 3 two-way players right now. They need to fill the 15 roster spot before the start of the season if they want to keep those 3 two-way slots. Otherwise, they can only have 2, which would say, let's say they get, cross the fingers, everyone out there, Christian Wood. They would also have to go either sign someone else or bump up one of those 3 guys to a regular paying slot. So your thoughts on this, my friend? How would you approach that knowing this new information?
Oh, I don't see any way where the Lakers don't field 15 players this year. It's a formality. Who's going to be there is going to really be the only question. Who's going to actually uh, be the everyday player or the non two-way players? We'll find that out here probably soon. Uh, they're getting a center. It's a matter of which center. They need another center. They can't just go in with Jackson and AD as the 2 bigs. You're going to have to get one more guy. And we're right now looking at the free agent tracker. You have Christian Wood. You have Mo Bamba, which I just don't see him coming back. You have Dario Saric, which I actually thought he had signed with the Golden State Warriors, unless I got something mixed up.
Who is that?
He's more of a power forward, but Dario
who is it again?
Saric.
Dario Saric? I
Yeah.
thought he went to Golden State too. I'll check on him.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
don't know. I'm seeing him still in the list of free agents. Mason Plumlee is.
He said
the
he's
other.
likely to join the Warriors.
There you go. So it's not official.
Yeah.
Really, it's down to Christian Wood and Mason Plumlee at this point. I'm waiting on which one, and I think the Mason Plumlee thing will get solved, I believe, once there's a clear cut finish on what's going to happen with James Harden. I think James Harden is going to LA to play for the Clippers, and I think that will dictate what the Clippers have to do money-wise, because I believe they're probably going to be trading. This is my assessment from this. They're going to be trading Zubac and then putting Plumlee at the center position because of money issues. Other than that, I don't know who else they could put there that would be different. Maybe Robin Lopez, but I think he's done. Bismack Biyombo could be a guy, but I think he might be. I don't know if that's the guy you want, but beggars can't be choosers. Like I said, it's gonna be one of those guys. I don't think it's gonna be Robin Lopez. I think Robin Lopez is really done. But don't be surprised if it's someone like Bismack Biyombo getting the minimum, playing for the Lakers as a center. At worst case scenario, and that's where that is.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us, Joe. When I talked to you about Christian Wood, again, it seems like he has got a really bad rep around the league. Persona non grata. As far as him, this is a guy that's hit 17 points last year per game. 38% from behind the 3-point arc, seemingly can fit a lot of different styles for a lot of these NBA teams, but yet he's been shunned by all of them at this present time.
There's something going on. There's an attitude thing going on where people are afraid to commit. And it's eerily the same as Dwight Howard towards the end of his little run after he left Houston back in the day, and then eventually ended up playing for the Lakers in 2020 and helping them win a championship. It just sounds exactly the same in terms of teams not wanting to commit because there's some kind of personality issue that they don't want to deal with. For the Lakers, it's a risk versus reward situation here. So with Jackson, it's a risk versus reward. With Reddish, it's a risk versus reward. Those both work. And then if you get Christian Wood, not only does that work from a risk versus reward situation, he actually has a skill set that you actually need. And he might not be good on defense, but he's a guy that can score at the basket, and he's got length. And he's from Long Beach, for those of you who don't know. So maybe him being home might be something good for him. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see.
Knee Deep is asking a Kevin Love and LeBron possible reunion?
No, Kevin Love is going back to Miami.
That's most likely the case, yeah, because didn't he resign already, or did he not?
I believe he did.
Go ahead and check Kevin Love. Yeah, he is staying with the Miami Heat.
And Mo Bamba's not coming back. Darvin Ham does not like Mo Bamba.
Yeah, he signed a 2-year deal with the Heat.
And Mo Bamba's not that bad. If they played Wenyen Gabriel, Mo Bamba is not worse than Wenyen Gabriel. I'm sorry, that it's just not that it's not it. You can't convince me he's worse than Wenyen Gabriel. But for some reason, Darvin Ham really does not like Mo Bamba. We're just besides the fact
he
that
just doesn't have the awareness. It doesn't matter if you're 7-1 with a 7-7 reach. If you don't have the defensive awareness, you're always going to be out of position. And that's the problem.
The motor has always been an issue. When you don't have the motor, especially when you're that talented physically and a guy who can actually shoot, it's one of those things where you're probably more frustrating to others when you actually do have the size and the ability to play, yet this is at level 2 instead of 4.
I'm telling you, my friend, it's going to be very interesting to see. The one name I do think that everybody, including Laker Tom, is also fascinated with is Mr. Castleton, the new undrafted player that signed a 2-way with the Lakers. So I ask you, my friend, a lot of people are looking forward to seeing him tomorrow as the Lakers start their preseason schedule in the California Classic at 3 p.m. Pacific time. You can catch it along with us on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Your thoughts? I don't think that we're going to see Castleton make an imprint at least early on in the season, because the traditional NBA coach always has a hard time playing undrafted rookies right away unless they somehow stick out, for some reason. Demoy Hodge and Colin Castleton have something to prove as undrafted players, and it has to start very soon, right away in the California Classic.
We're going to get a taste. We have to wait, guys. We have to wait to see how summer league players play against seasoned vets and seasoned greats like AD and LeBron. I don't know, but we are going to get a little bit of a taste tomorrow. Watch some basketball. I already missed basketball the day it stopped, which normally I get a little burned out at the end of the year, where I'm like, okay, good. I don't have to worry about adjusting my schedule, the 100 times to make sure I'm watching the games. But I actually was pretty disappointed after we got swept by Denver that I wanted to watch the games again. And maybe it was because we were so close. It's just a bummer that we couldn't get past them, because had we gotten past Denver, we'd probably be hanging them. We probably would have hung 18 at that point. But the Lakers have made it more exciting this in the last 3 days, not only for the team, but also for the show that we're doing now. Made things even more exciting with the amount of activity that's come our way. More activity that I've seen since I've gone pretty much full time since last year. And now it's summer league, and now we're going to get games like that in July, and then August is going to hit, and then all of a sudden September is going to start creeping, and then now we're going to be talking about training camp. Then here comes the NBA season again. September is the best time of the year for sports because you got football starting, you got basketball that's on the way, hockey's about to come, and I know you're going to be happy about that, being that your team won the championship. And I actually had a question about that I
Sure.
keep forgetting to ask you. Why do they keep calling the Golden Knights Vegas Golden Knights? Why don't they just say Las Vegas?
As far as their traditional name, they do just put Vegas Golden Knights.
Why
It's
is
just
that?
VGK. VGK. It's they use the initials VGK. It's just basically for just as far as for licensing purposes and things of that nature. They just wanted to make sure that they had something a little bit slicker. Plus, also as well, the VGK, it just fits so much better into whatever there it is they're doing, whether or not they're on license plates, T-shirts, whatever, because they're all over the place. They're even utilized by the state of Nevada as far as issuing out license plates as VGK, and then whatever numbers that you want to add on to it. So basically, the Vegas Gold Knights thing actually worked out a lot better.
Yeah, thank you for that. I couldn't figure out why.
Yeah, no worries. Again, it's all about licensing and how it looks and how it sounds, my friend. They thought it would be a better thing, and absolutely, it is worked out for us here. But one name actually was brought up in the chat. I do want to give a big compliment to Connor Lancaster, who's in our chat right now. The best Lakers chat that's out there is right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Omer Yurtseven, his name has been thrown out there. He is not going to be able to start for you, but as a backup that can score and rebound, cannot play great defense. That's why he was let go by Miami. He's someone that could be of interest to us as far as being able as a backup as a 7-footer.
Who is this?
Omer Yurtseven.
Oh, Yurt7. Oh,
He is a free agent. They declined an offer. The Miami Heat did.
I'm weary of players that the Miami Heat let go.
We saw
We,
that before with Kendrick
we've
Nunn.
seen that, and I
A
remember when we
subscriber.
did get him, that was the most intriguing player, at least for me, during that offseason. I wanted to
We
see how
thought
good
he
he
we thought he was going to pop.
Correct. I really did, because of his performance in the finals in 2020. I thought there's something there, but there was some noise that he wasn't playing enough, and I go, okay, well, why isn't Miami playing this guy? He's making every shot against us. And then when he came to LA, I was still thinking, why would this guy was second in the Rookie of the Year voting, and why would Pat Riley let him go? Well, we found out why. And if they're letting go this guy, I wouldn't go near him.
And the thing is, though, when it comes to Cam Reddish, I know a lot of people are asking if how well he'll do if he'll get consistent time. That's going to be up to him. If the pace stays high and the Lakers stay in the top 5 in pace in the Western Conference or in the NBA as a whole, I see Reddish getting some time and flourishing pretty well. If it does seem that the Lakers are going to be better off with a lot more in the half court, that is not playing to Reddish's skills as a guy that's youthful, athletic, and can run the floor really well. When you start asking him to go ahead and facilitate, when you start asking him to go ahead and hit outside jumpers, yeah, first that's why you've seen him on 3 different teams already. He just not able at this time to get it done.
The Laker fandom needs to get ready for players like Jackson Hayes and Cam Reddish to be the whooping boys this year. I'm preparing for those things. We're hoping they aren't. We're hoping they get past their little mental block that they seem to have because their physical talents are amazing. But the likelihood of Jackson Hayes and Cam Reddish frustrating us is higher than not.
I'd say Cam Reddish because he's been wanted by so many in our audience for quite a long time.
And Laker fans tend to romanticize extremely talented players that seem to have mental blocks everywhere they go. It can work out sometimes. It did with Dwight Howard, but more often than not, it doesn't. It turns into Kendrick Nunn.
Mhm.
but it's worth the risk. It's still worth the risk to see if there's something there, because if Jackson Hayes and Cam Reddish play average basketball, meaning they're just doing their jobs, they're accepting of their roles, playing 15 minutes a game and doing well, then the Lakers made a good call bringing them in. We'll know that as the season progresses, because even if they show their, what Chris Rock used to say, their representative at the beginning, what's really going to show who they are is those dog days in December and January, when maybe they get a couple of DNPs. Are they going to shrivel like I don't know. I wouldn't say Kendrick Nunn shriveled. He just didn't play for the first year.
Yeah,
But
he
but
had that very mysterious. Was it a shin injury?
yeah, I don't know what it was. It was the shin from hell. The shin splint from hell, I should say. And I've had those, and
Oh,
they're brutal.
they are brutal. I've had
Yeah.
them too.
When I hit my growth spurt in junior high, it was one of the worst pains I've had in my life.
I was
I,
playing basketball for quite a stretch in the wrong shoes and flat shoes. Oh, never do that again.
I grew 6 inches in a summer, and it was brutal.
Yes.
It was brutal. There was a moment there where my parents thought I wasn't going to stop growing. I went from 5'3" to 5'9" in 3 months. It was a good thing, obviously. It was getting big, but it was still kind of freaky. You know, you go from looking at your parents like this to now you're looking at them like this in a summer. My mom wasn't short either. She was 5'7". My dad was 5'7" as well. But those can be brutal. I sympathize with it, but at the same time, we needed him to play, and uh, we all felt like he should have played. But anyways, the Cam Reddish and Jackson Hayes have the opportunity to showcase themselves here on a team that's going to be competing for a championship. If they do well, if their agent or themselves can be convinced that they need to set aside their egos for a little bit and focus on the team concept, they'll help tremendously. Last year it worked with Rui, right? He had a DNP, and the first question he had is, "What am I doing wrong?" He had the maturity to get to that point, and it worked out right after that. So
So let me ask you this though, when it comes to Rui, because when it comes to Rui, and there's a lot of overpays that we talked about consistently over the course of the past 3 days. And I'll get to my worst contract of all of them, because Jeremy Grant's contract is actually now, I think, in my mind, has a worse contract that's out there that's signed. But when it comes to Rui Hashimura, when most of these shows and analysts I've been listening to and watching are talking about Rui possibly being overpay, because of the fact that they like us have already said that he probably will not sustain that type of shooting over the course of an 82 game season. But if he reverts back to the Rui Hashimura of Washington and before the DMP, costing us that much, that's going to be a problem. I think we're going to get somewhere in the middle, personally, when it comes to Rui Hashimura. So it won't come off that bad. I just worry if the Lakers put him in the starting lineup and depend on him a lot more than what they were depending on him in the playoffs.
if the Lakers don't get a starting center with this last slot, let's say,
He's probably going to start.
he's probably going to start, and I believe he's better off the bench, although his pay is not bench worthy. At the same time, if he hits 38% from three, he's going to be valuable. I mean, he's a big body. He's got a good mid range. I've been trying to think about that a little bit. Why would he get worse? I don't think he'll get worse. He's not going to shoot 45% from three, but if he's shooting 38% from three the entire year, I believe that's a good number. And he's a good team player. And he did something last year that's made a switch. It was a switch of, I need to know what I need to do to win. LeBron was great in helping him do that and had a great playoff run. So I don't see Rui being a problem. I really don't. He might just be blossoming at the right time.
I hope so. Again, like I told you when they traded for him, the reason why he became available is his inconsistency. Take the last two games before he moved to Lakers. 30-point game and a 0-point game back to back. So that just tells you at that time his career with Washington has always been about inconsistency. When he came to the Lakers, originally before, like you said, why did he get a DNP? He got DNP because his play was inconsistent. As soon as he got that DNP, he became, like you said, he asked the right questions and did the right things to make himself more consistent with the Lakers. Now, he tailed off a little bit in the Denver series. Of course, a lot of the Lakers players did. That's part of the reason why they lost. But again, his overall numbers for the playoffs were outstanding. I'm assuming he cannot hit 47% from behind the arc for an entire season. I'm going to say if he gets to 37% for a season, then I think that's more than what people should ask for.
If he's hitting his mid-range shot, scoring 12, 13 points a game, being a good team player and playing good team defense, that's all you can ask for. In today's NBA, his salary can become an asset even if he doesn't play well.
Yeah.
Because
It's not a huge enough deal where you
Mhm.
can't be traded.
No, and the contract isn't 5 years; it's 3 years.
Yeah.
I don't know the I don't know what the third. I don't know what the third year
I
is.
haven't heard if it's a team or a
Me,
player
me
option.
neither. My guess is it's probably a player option, but that's because it always seems to be a player option for someone who's valued in a signing. I'm not worried about Rui. I've been talking video games too much today.
There you go.
I'm not worried about Rui. I'm just not. I'm thinking right now is who's going to be the next signing who is likely going to be a center. If they get Christian Wood on the minimum, it is a slam dunk that the Lakers are going to be the favorite to win the championship next year. I'm not saying Vegas is going to do it, but to me,
Now Vegas is probably going to lean towards Denver or Boston right now.
Correct. I don't know why. I mean, Boston with Porzingis, I know that they
That's
got better. They
That's a
got better.
very sexy signing, as
They
per
got
se.
better on offense, but the issue is I have to see that guy play more than 65 games for me to think, oh, okay, this guy's going to make it through an 82 game season and then 3 months of playoff basketball. But Boston had to make that transaction, and it was a good one. It was a really, really good one on paper. You have to take a chance. They just got screwed by the Clippers when the Clippers bowed out on that first straight, because had they been able to keep Marcus Smart, which, by the way, Celtics don't do themselves any favors, man. They told Marcus Smart he wasn't going anywhere, and that turned out to be another lie. Boston is really good at lying to their players and bouncing them, and that's a bad reputation. That's why Boston will never get a high-end free agent to come there.
And I hear you right now, my friend. But the thing is also with Jaylen Brown, you've seen all these extensions for the past 3 days, huge extensions given to players all over the league. I believe Jaylen Brown is available for an extension and has yet to receive one, if I'm not mistaken.
Little idea here on Jaylen Brown. If I'm Boston, I'm talking to Portland just to feel something out a little bit.
Yeah, but that would have been great. You got to go ahead and involve Grant in the mix because you just signed him, which is a similar player to Jaylen Brown, for an obscene amount of money as well.
I would say if you can have Porzingis and let's say Dame Lillard and Jason Tatum, I think that might be a little bit more scary in the playoffs than Jaylen Brown. Tatum,
I agree.
and Porzingis.
I agree. Yeah.
You have to have that conversation, especially when you're at the cusp of paying Jaylen Brown the super max, which I believe he is not. He's a good player. He's a leader. I like his attitude. I like him as a person, but he does not warrant a supermax in my book. Even Dame Lillard, with all his talents in Portland, supermax belongs to LeBron. It belongs to Jokic. It belongs to Giannis. Those are supermaxes, not guys that have actually won, not guys that are not going to help you win a championship. And I know roster construction is a team thing, but Supermax, you put yourself in a worse position when you actually do have a one-star team that you know can't win a championship. You almost screw yourself twice.
So I want to ask you, my friend, getting back to the Lakers situation right here at the Lakers Fast Break. It is Gerald Glassford from the Pop Culture Cosmos and a Lakers Fast Break, along with Joe Sorrell from LakersBall.com and Simblades, Simblades with a Y.com. Want to ask you this, my friend, when it concerns that starting lineup, because the reason why that you and so many others out there in our chat are letting us know and letting them, everybody out there know that we need to get Christian Wood. The reason why, no, he's not a great defender. And anybody who thinks he might be under under the Lakers probably would be mistaken themselves because of how well he played on only one end of the court with Dallas, with Houston, and also the fact that he burned those bridges on his way out. I think that though the reason why we're so intrigued is what he can bring offensively to the Lakers in providing himself as a stretch five, shooting 38% from three, shooting 17, can actually run the floor with LeBron in that environment. And alongside AD can make up for a lot of the shortcomings he has on defense. The reason why Jackson Hayes or even Vanderbilt, who we love so much, played so well at times defensively, should ever be only a spot starter at best because of the fact that they don't stretch the floor and that they just basically clog up the lane. It worked for us in 2020. I mean, a lot of the feedback and pushback we get, Joe, is that, well, you had JaVale McGee out there or Dwight Howard starting a lot of these games, and the Lakers were able to get away with it as far as having three non-stretch players, and we're including LeBron in that mix because LeBron, sorry to say, is not a three-point shooter, a good one at this point in time. We're just being totally honest to you out there. But you and I have all seen that as far as LeBron checking up all those threes, especially this past season. You can't have three non-shooters for a predominant amount of time in today's NBA. It's really hard. It is absolutely really hard. And you're right, Christian Wood is a pretty good rebounder as well.
Well, let's put it in perspective, folks. Are you ready? Christian Wood doesn't play well on defense. However, I want you to put this in perspective in that the three centers we had this last year were Wenyen Gabriel, Mo Bamba, and Tristan Thompson. That wasn't Anthony Davis.
Oh, getting shivers there.
So we said this earlier before we had an idea of who we wanted. Any center at this point in free agency is going to be better than what we've had, other than Anthony Davis, which is playing out of position in a lot of ways. So you get Christian Wood, you've more than doubled your talent in that position, regardless of how bad he is here or there.
And if he has a good camp, and plays well alongside AD, you could potentially put him at starter alongside AD. AD moves to the four, which is a more natural and comfortable position for him, which could possibly lead to a longer season, more games available, and he doesn't get beaten up as much going into the playoffs.
Correct. And your offense is going to be constructed perfectly for a LeBron centric team. You're going to have a point guard who can handle the ball and who can shoot in D'Angelo Russell. You have Anthony Davis playing his normal position of the four, who can spread the floor a little bit too. Hasn't been shooting really well the last few years, but he did start playing a little bit better and shooting a little bit better towards the end of the season. This season, I should say. Christian Wood can make shots. You have Austin Reeves, which word has come out that he's going to have more ball handling duties, which means he's going to be playing the two as kind of like a dual point guard, scoring guard type thing, like D'Angelo Russell. So think about that for a second. You have LeBron James that's going to be playing a point forward like position, which is really still small forward, and you're going to have D'Angelo Russell who can shoot, Austin Reeves who can shoot, Christian Wood who can shoot, an AD who's going to be still open the floor up for you and who can shoot. It's perfect. It's perfect, and everybody plays the position that they're supposed to play. It would work, and then you bring in Rui off the bench. You can make him the sixth man with the team, and I believe he'll be extremely valuable at that point.
One thing I want to ask you is something Z's, I said the comment on it and Z's picked up on it in the best chat room that's out there, the Lakers Fast Break. Let's go back to 2015 to this upcoming season. What are you looking for as far as LeBron and the three? It's not consistent because there are years like 2015 where it's 30%. This past season is 32. 2018 is 33. And then you get into some decent numbers where in 2020, 2016, 2017, and 2021, we're shooting around 36%. Which LeBron do you think we can get when he's shooting? I mean, if he's shooting 36%, it helps us so much more. But if he's shooting 30 to 32 with all the amount of shots that he's taking from behind the arc at this stage of his career, that could really also hurt us as well.
Less activity, the better for LeBron, so that he doesn't start shooting bad towards the end of the year because he has no lift in his shot. The reason why he was missing shots from deep practically the last three series was because he was tired. He is tired, guys. He needs his rest. And he didn't really get that during the regular season. He played way too many games where we went into overtime and he played 52 minutes, 48 minutes. It's just too much, guys. We can't afford that. But we do have some horses now. We have Gabe Vincent. We have Prince. We have Austin Reeves that just got his big contract.
But none of these guys, absolutely not even Austin, although he was just a tick under. None of these guys are 40% three-point shooters. Our numbers should go up incrementally, but still, we're one of the weaker three-point shooting teams in the NBA. Just to be honest, from what I'm seeing in the stats.
We're never going to be a shooting team with AD and LeBron at the focal point, but what we can be is we can be a team of smart basketball players with a good blend of youth and veteran leadership, and a coach that came out the playoffs much improved with when coming out of a regular season where he was mediocre to worse than mediocre. And I say that because in a lot of ways it maybe wasn't his fault. Once the trade happened at the deadline, it changed a lot of things. I don't believe it's a coincidence that all of a sudden Darvin Ham started knowing how to coach. He had bad tools. He had two really bad, rusty, useless tools until they got rid of those tools and got some younger guys and some guys that understood their roles. Bad as Vando was towards the end, he wasn't a malcontent. He didn't get in the way of the chemistry. He didn't create problems in the locker room. At least he was there playing his butt off. He did well sometimes, and of course, he didn't do well on the other side as well. But that's the key here, guys. One of the underrated things that happened in 2020 was I didn't hear a peep out of the Lakers almost the entire year. There was never any drama. It was eerie how weird that was, because usually LA is like the only team I've ever seen that's had massive drama yet still win championships. We've been around, with Kobe and Shaq and those guys. Yeah. This team seems to. I'm getting a good feeling that this team is going to understand what they're about, and they're gonna get a chance to prepare early this time and get everything right. Maybe they come out the gate, let's say, I don't know, 10-7. But I believe if that after those first 17,
anything is better than 2-10, my
correct.
friend.
But let's say they do. Let's say they do come out 10-7. I believe they will hit a stride at some point.
We used to come on after the show. What was it? Remember what it was like last season after 2-10 when we came on the show? Oh my God. It's on YouTube and Facebook. You can watch it if you want, but we were hilarious because we were so mad. We were so mad. Oh my gosh, indeed. But I sense a lot better start for the Lakers this time around. It is the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate it. I wanted to ask you quick, my friend, when it comes to the Lakers and how the CBA might have changed Rob's thinking. And we'll go into Rob's performance here in the offseason in a second as well. I wanted to mention to you one of the things that was signed today is the first second round draft pick was signed today, earlier today, with the Sacramento Kings signing the number 34 pick, Colby Jones, out of Xavier, to a 4-year, $8.76 million rookie deal. 2 years only of it is guaranteed. The rest, I believe, is team options. But it's the first player signed under this NBA's new second round pick exception, according to Shams Charania. So I ask you, my friend, one thing that's always bothered me about how Rob approaches these young players is he doesn't take these second round or undrafted players and gives them with any of them that look like they have any kind of promise and sign them to longer term contracts, which in turn gets you into more financial trouble in a shorter amount of time. Like, for instance, Austin Reeves, had they given him a team option for this year instead of just making or allowing him to be a restricted free agent, we probably would have saved ourselves a ton of cash and been able to go ahead and maybe pursue bigger names for a center. I mean, it eats you. So do you think that what you're seeing with this new CBA will that allow him to go ahead and make better moves when signing these young players?
Is Rob doing that to make sure that his salary each year is more fluid, or is he not understanding that the scouts and the front office are picking talented players late in those drafts and not taking advantage of keeping them there on a rookie contract?
Well,
It,
like Eric is in our chat right now. That's what I'm asking, because Maxwell Lewis would be the first name on this list because he's the 40th pick, second round draft pick. You could sign him to one of those 4-year deals, 2 years guaranteed, make it a 4-year deal or a 3-year deal. Just something so that, okay, because the way that Max Christie has to pop. If Max Christie pops, it works for the Lakers during the season, but against them because he's a restricted free agent. He's out on the open market next summer because you signed him only to a 2-year deal. You understand my frustration is these guys like THT, Caruso, you didn't commit to them in longer terms. Austin Reeves, so you're
it was really
financially.
only Alex Caruso though,
But
because
remember Alex Caruso. But
they
Alex
signed
Caruso
THT.
Yeah, but Alex Caruso, remember the first year he was with the Lakers, that tail end of the season, he started playing really well. And then he committed, I believe, to a contract, a short term contract with the Lakers. And then you saw what happened from there. Same thing with THT. THT, they signed him as a second round draft pick. He's a very young kid. It's going to take time for him to develop. You only commit to him in 2 years. He blows up in that second year. And you saw how it cost the Lakers. I'm just worried about if Rob will continue that part of his thinking and his mindset, which ultimately costs us financially.
I don't think it's cost us financially.
It did. It did
I,
earlier. You
I,
had you signed Austin Reeves to a 3 or 4 year contract initially, we wouldn't be talking about Austin Reeves, trying to, we wouldn't have had to sweat out Austin Reeves possibly getting $80 million from Houston and stuff
so
like that.
we sweated it, but we overvalued it.
Well, he's still being paid $56 million a year sooner than he needed to be.
Who would we have been able to sign if we had him on a rookie contract? Is the question now.
Well, I'm just saying there would have been more money to free up for other players.
Who?
For instance, as far as Brook Lopez, you talked about how much we could go ahead and spend on Brook Lopez. Maybe we would have been able to spend more on Brook Lopez.
Would we have been able to spend $24 million on Brook Lopez if
Miles Turner? I see Miles Turner's name in the chat. We could have finally done that magical trade that Laker Tom's been waiting a year for. I'm just throwing out hypotheticals, my friend. I'm just saying the mindset.
I don't think it works like that, Gerald.
Well, it does. It does work like that.
You have to look at it from
mindset
the
has
other
to
side
change.
too. You have to look at it from the other side too. Now you have Austin for 4 more years, not having to worry about him being a free agent next year, coming off a year where he played better next year than he did this year.
But if
It,
Max Christie pops,
if Max Christie pops, then you
we're
deal with it.
you got to deal with it
But
a lot sooner
is
than we need to.
Max Christie going to pop? Is he going to become Austin Reeves 2.0? Not really playing a lot his first year? Probably not. I think Max Christie is likely 2 years to 3 years away of being fulfilling his full potential.
I understand that, but that's why you signed him to, especially if you're buying like the Lakers did last year. They bought and paid millions of dollars to buy into the draft to select him. You would think they would want to go ahead and there just make a better investment into him after you spend so much money getting him in the first place. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe they learned their lesson that they're really
I'm
good at
hoping
picking.
so. We'll see in the next couple of days when they sign
It's
Maxwell
just not
Lewis.
something I think about, and I don't think they do either. I'm
Well,
the
that's not good.
Lakers are a superstar-driven franchise. They're not going to hold their hopes up or worry about sending contracts out to people who will never be stars on the team. At least the first tier stars.
But these homegrown stars, in some cases with some teams, let's take the Warriors. The Warriors have been able to go ahead and excel because they found players that they drafted and retained them with financially, at that time, early in their career, fiscally sound contracts. I'm just saying, you take these gambles on these kids in the second round and undrafted.
It really
You
only
have the
hasn't worked once. It didn't work out once with Alex Caruso recently.
well with THT. You don't think it worked out with
THT,
THT?
they signed him.
But they had to
And by
commit
the
to a
way, he
larger
turned out to be
contract a
a
lot
dud,
sooner. Yeah, but they had to commit to a larger contract a lot sooner.
and he ended up being a dud.
No. Okay. I'm not gonna go. I'm just going back
They might
semantics
be
on you.
looking at it. They might be looking at that. Look, we try to value this guy. He got his contract, and he stunk after that.
Well, the thing is, the good news is for everybody out there, if Max Christie does pop and the Lakers have this issue next year, and if we're arguing like this again, that means Max Christie, as the backup shooting guard, has played well enough to go ahead and get a nice role in this league. And that's actually a good problem to have if you're the Lakers.
I just don't think Max Christie is going to tip us over to championship level
Well,
in
we'll
his
see. I
second
mean, we're going
season.
to,
If he
well,
had if he had a phenomenal rookie season where he was a runner-up for Rookie of the Year, that'd be a different story.
Mhm.
But I'm just we I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. The Lakers are driven by stars. I'm talking first tier stars. Their focus is always to have flexibility year
It's
in and
also
year
about
out.
building a team.
Right, which they did, and they are. And
Okay.
Lakers seem to stumble and still either win championships or go deep in the playoffs because they have stars on the team. So when we didn't have stars on the team was when we sucked between 2014 and 2017. We really stunk those 4 seasons because we had no stars. When we had a star, granted, LeBron didn't make the playoffs in 2018, but that's because he had his first major injury in his career at that point. And we had a fairly young team. And then when they didn't make the playoffs in 2022 was the curse of Russell Westbrook.
I could talk semantics with him all day long. He's not going to listen. He's Joe. But that was
Yeah, well, they made the decision to sign THT because he was 7 years younger and was showing promise, and then he hit the wall.
You're
Of
right.
course, looking back at it now, I would have said no to THT and signed Caruso.
Absolutely. I would have done the same thing as well. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there supporting us any which way you can. Right here on a Sunday night, it is truly appreciated. It's 11 o'clock, but we're still going strong right here at the Lakers Fast Break. NBA free agency day 3. The Lakers, whether you take what Zangerstein said that we announced here on the show about what some of the Lakers options as far as whether or not they should fill up 1 or 2 slots left that are open. Of course, again, according to most reports, they've said only fill up 1. Zangerstein said it might be more fiscally sound, especially to hold on to all 3 of those two-way players that you have to fill the entire roster up. The one thing is, though, we still need one more big man in play, and Christian Wood is still out there. I think he could still, with the right mindset, be an individual that you could actually start alongside AD. And again, if there's still people out there wondering why we still emphasize AD at the 4, I know I ask Joe to repeat this all the time, but it is best and consequential for his health. It's just the best thing for his health that he plays the four. AD has been on the record say he's more comfortable at the four. For all intents and purposes, it's just better for him to play off a big center like Jokic and help out. We saw it in Denver series, my friend, when the Lakers came back in the game one. Rui was the one playing Jokic all the time, and AD was coming over as the help man.
Using this Denver series as a kind of decision-making series for a lot of these guys, everyone failed in that series. It's not just D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell got the biggest hit on that, but it was everyone who failed. AD couldn't contain. I mean, there were some games where they were able to contain Jokic a little bit. They got him into foul trouble. But the problem is no one hit shots consistently, and Denver hit shots consistently. And you can't say they didn't have opportunities to win games because he had two of those games at home, and they hadn't lost a home game up until they lost to Denver in game 3 and 4, or games 3 and 4. I just think that series just didn't work out. You hit the worst team at the worst time, and you didn't play well due to fatigue, due to the pressure of the moment, due to lack of continuity at that point. Either way, I'm just going to look at that series as a just wrong place, wrong time setup. Now you've put enough skilled players on this team. You've put enough risk versus good risk versus reward type players. Youth is there. You have an off season and a training camp this time. You don't have to worry about not having that continuity and that chemistry to build. The only negative is you have a year older LeBron. That's something we're going to have to see where he's at. But I already know. I already know he needs to not play a lot of minutes, even in close games.
You said close to 30. Am I correct?
Yeah, I want a 2014 type distribution of minutes for this team. 2014 Spurs was one of the most. It was the best coach team. You could argue was the best coach team I've ever seen.
And that takes a lot because of how much you hate Pop.
Yeah, Pop is a pompous ass, but he's a great coach, and that was his. That was.
You noticed he got the shot in there as well.
It was his Belichick. It was his Belichick. It was almost like when the Patriots beat the Rams in Super Bowl. What was it? 54. Was it 54? A few years ago.
Yeah.
That was Belichick's best coached game in all of his Super Bowls. Someone would come to me and say, no. He beat the greatest team on turf in 2001. The reason why I picked that Super Bowl for Belichick is I watched in an era of offense, in an era where referees let offense do everything and defense do nothing. I watched a game plan where I knew after the first quarter the Rams weren't going to score. I hadn't seen that in years. And Popovich in 2014, I think Tim averaged 29 minutes that year, and it was almost like everybody played less than 30 minutes that year. And they ran the most beautiful offense all year round. They annihilated Miami in the finals, so much so that LeBron bowed out after game 2 with cramps and never was able to recover. We need something like that this coming year. We need an even distribution of time, even distribution of minutes, and we need all the players to be focused on winning. And Darvin Ham's job is going to have to make sure that that's first and foremost what needs to get done.
And Eric and everyone in the chat, that doesn't mean we would have just Wood in the clutch time late in the game at the 5. I mean, if he's playing well enough, absolutely. But most times in the clutch, we would still, as everybody would know, Ham is probably going to go ahead and lean on AD at the 5, but the less minutes AD playing the 5, I think is you just means for us, I think a little bit better chance he doesn't get worn down. Let's say he plays
Yay! A subscriber.
so much, Tashi, for subscribing to us right here at the Lakers Fast Break. But Joe, I just think the less he plays at 5, the better he will be, and the fresher he will be going into the playoffs.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be moved to the 5
Right.
during late season,
Time, but
late game scenarios. And that's the thing, is that's Darvin Ham's job, is to put him at the 5 in certain spots. Anthony Davis closed out the 2020 finals playing center and playing the finest defensive, in my book, the most amazing defensive performance I've ever seen in a game of that magnitude. He was absolutely destructive to Miami's offense, and Frank Vogel's insertion of Alex Caruso in the starting lineup in that game was a coaching genius move. Those are the type of things that need to happen with Darvin Ham, and if they're able to maneuver that all year and make it work, and not have LeBron and AD tax themselves to the point where their bodies burn out at the end, this Laker team is going to have a very good chance at winning it all.
So let's say, and the other name in there is Mason Plumlee, who did play a pretty good role and played quite a stretch of minutes in the playoffs for the Clippers. The thing is, though, he's because he's not a floor stretcher by any stretch of the imagination, pardon the pun. I really think that that's going to be an issue where, again, the Lakers are reverting themselves back to the 2020 season where they got away with it, but still it makes it harder in today's NBA to have 3 non-shooters out there. I know if you put Jared Vanderbilt out there, you're going to have that issue, but again, when you have so many non-shooters out there, and I'm thinking if this is LeBron shooting the 30% as opposed to, let's say, 36, that can be an issue for the Lakers.
Mason Plumlee is still a better center than anything we had this last year. As badly as he is on the free throw line, as badly he is on offense, he's still better than anything we have. So if we end up signing Plumlee, which I don't think is going to happen anyways, I think the Clippers want him to come back, from what I've read. But if the Lakers get Plumlee or Christian Wood, it's a massive win. It's an upgrade at the center position, regardless.
Yeah.
So you win that.
Oh, and he does get rebounds. You're right, Overdose. We're not disputing that. It's just the lane gets smaller, and LeBron, when he feels frisky, he loves to drive down the lane.
Yeah,
and that's probably the best thing when he's playing is he's driving in the lane, getting fouled, getting the contact. AD, same thing, getting fouled, getting contact. When the Lakers are running and they're getting to the line, that's hard to stop.
And we're gonna hope also that some of the guys that we've signed are going to improve this year too. If Austin Reeves improves, if Rui improves, if D'Angelo Russell can improve on his performance, that will play a factor. Will Gabe Vincent improve? Will Prince improve? That changes everything on its own too. I think AD could improve a little, but he started hitting his free throws, and maybe if he can hit more mid-range shots on a consistent basis, I think that would obviously help keep the floor spread, and maybe we'd have a chance at doing more pick and roll. Hood Schifino is a guy that's been touted as a guy that's really good at the mid-range and very good at pick and roll offense. That would be fun to see a pick and roll scenario on a consistent basis.
And I understand that we're not playing Jokic and Embiid 82 games a year, but there's a good chance you will meet them when it counts the most.
They're doing what they're supposed to do right now. They've put a really good team together, and we're going to find out at training camp how they play. The noise will start to come out, and then let's enjoy the season. We're going to be here. We're going to be talking. after every game, during the game, and we're gonna have all the information and enough stuff going on. And the cool thing is, we don't have to worry about needing anything really for the first time in a long time, and we're not gonna have to worry about getting rid of something for the first time in a while. That seems to be a real big relief for me, anyways.
So I ask you, my friend, let's cover the last 20 minutes of the show because I'm going to probably end it at 90 minutes because we've had a long weekend and we will be back tomorrow. If I'm going to do a late show around 10 p.m. as a recap of the day for day 4 in the NBA free agency, we will come on sooner. If something breaks that's Laker centric, we'll come on the fly and do it. Joe said he wants to go ahead and do it on the fly. If there's any major news for the Lakers, or if we do sign Christian Wood or something like that, absolutely. We will also be available at 3 p.m. for playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Also as well for the upcoming game against the Miami Heat. So it's great to get it back in the preseason game as far as that's concerned. But before we head it out, my friend, again, I wanted to go ahead and stress what the Lakers have done as opposed to other teams. Houston, they did the overpay for Fred VanVleet. Okay, whatever. But the worst contract in the NBA was signed also yesterday. Dylan Brooks, a guy who we thought might have been going to China after his embarrassing defeat at the hands of LeBron in the playoffs, and how he was really just destroyed by LeBron at times right there in front of a national audience. Your thoughts though on Dylan Brooks ending up getting paid substantially more than D'Angelo, Austin Reeves, or Rui Hashimura, all of which played better than Dylan Brooks.
I have no idea, honestly. I have no idea how that guy got 20 million for 4 years per.
80 for 4. Absolutely insane. I
Mind-boggling.
understand Houston had to pay money, but if you're Houston, why aren't you smarter and just saying, hey, look, we're going to hold on to the extra cash. We're going to see if anybody wants to dump their players our way and get a whole bunch of draft picks instead.
I don't know, man. That's a tough one, man. I really don't.
That is just insane.
I saw that number pop up on my phone, and I was going like, I thought I read 8 at first, and then all of a sudden it was 80.
Well, overdose, they have to spend it by the start of the season. I would solicit offers from around the league. Hey, dump your bad contracts on us and give us some draft picks instead of signing Dylan Brooks. You still have to the beginning of the season to get to 90% of the cap. And that's just insane that you give it. You
could have gave that to a much more dependable player, someone who would actually play.
And this guy on a young team.
And why would you pay?
Bad attitude. His bad attitude killed Memphis. And
why would you pay him 4? That's the other thing. Is you gave him practically almost a max contract.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Overdose, I agree with you. But again, if I was Houston and been smart, Oklahoma City, how does Oklahoma City have like 500 draft picks? It's because they keep on taking these bad contracts in and they keep on getting these great draft picks out of it. That's smart. That's Sam Presti. That's how you do it. The guy in Houston, the GM in Houston, he's just like, we're just going to go ahead and give all of our money away like Monopoly. Absolutely just insane. And trade away players that they could go ahead and extend instead, like KJ Martin. I would have rather kept KJ Martin than played Dylan Brooks. Absolutely just, and he's such a bad fit for that team because they have so many young players that will see how bad of an attitude they can have just like him. It's just incredible.
A lot of bad attitude. There's always bad attitude in the NBA somewhere. He just kind of went more wrestling with his, and I don't know. He made it exciting a little bit. I'm not mad at him for talking smack. I think it ended badly for him, and it ended really well for us. So maybe that's why it's not bothering me. I kind of liked it.
You liked it
talking
too,
smack. Being the bad guy is fun.
But if it's members on your team,
being the bad guy is fun.
Let me ask you this: it was on your team with Patrick Beverley. It didn't work out so well for the Lakers.
Well, Patrick Beverley's different. He's a schmuck.
So that's different from Dylan
He's
Brooks?
old and he's schmucky. He's always been a problem. Even when he was good, he was a problem. I just don't like him.
Dylan Brooks has got a bad attitude and a bad shot. Well, that's a bad combination.
I didn't have to deal with Dylan Brooks other than this series, and he's not a Laker. Having Dylan Brooks as a Laker would have probably been worse, but he's never been a Laker, but Patrick Beverley was, and that's what made it worse.
And the thing is, okay, everybody's talking about his defense. That 38-year-old man that blew by him in the playoffs when it mattered the most kind of made it look like he doesn't play the greatest defense in the world either.
I think Dylan Brooks' problem was he couldn't make a shot.
He can't
If he had
make
made shots, Memphis probably wins that series. It wasn't so much the defense. And at the end of the day, LeBron ran out of gas a lot during the playoffs. I'm not saying Dylan Brooks was the cause, but playing Memphis tough, playing Golden State tough, it wore out the Lakers in the Denver series.
And these analysts could be right. The Rui could be an overpay because if he reverts back to being the inconsistent Rui that we've seen for his entirety of his career, it'll be an overpay. But it's not that gargantuan that the Lakers couldn't go ahead and get off it at some point in time. With Dylan Brooks, it's just 4 for 20, 4 years, 20 million per year. That's just insane. That's my worst pick of this. That's my worst contract, even above Jeremy Grant's of this free agency period. That's absolutely my worst.
So, and I would say that's a good one. That's a fair one.
Jeremy Grant at least will provide some good culture because I heard he's an outstanding player. I understand an outstanding and overpriced player, but still he'll provide at least some good. He's also coming as an older veteran player, working with a younger team. He's going to provide something in the locker room. What is Dylan Brooks going to provide you? Nothing but everybody shouting out stuff at LeBron as far as being old and all that, and end up biting you in the ass. Yeah.
Maybe he'll turn over a new leaf in Houston.
Well, he won't be needing to go to the Shanghai Sharks anytime soon, at least for 4
that
years.
was more of a just a dig at him.
I know it was a joke.
He was never going for
those memes were just awesome. Absolutely. People shouting out at him after the game, shouting that, hey, China's waiting for you and all that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. That was so hilarious indeed. But it is the Lakers Fast Break, my friend. Want to go ahead and spend the last few minutes of our show talking about Rob Pelinka so far. Rob Pelinka, you and I have spent a lot of time with a lot of harsh words to Rob as far as, with the Westbrook, trade, the Westbrook acquisitions, the stuff he's done over the years. But, that trade deadline, he made up for a lot of his misgivings, but we were very unsure. You and I were very unsure how he would handle this free agency situation. Laker Tom was confident all the way because, he just sees everything in a purple and gold shade. But we were trying to be realistic and say, okay, 2 years of ineptitude finally is on the right track. Let's see him keep it going. And you know what? I'm going to admit here in public, I think he did a good job. I think he really did a good job. I think right now I'm giving the team right now, even without a Christian Wood or center situation fully solved, an A. You said an A- the other day on the show. Your thoughts on the way Rob Pelinka has rebounded and grown as a general manager to become, right now, a really good one. From what I'm seeing,
Yeah,
I've got to admit it.
He's been doing this since the trading deadline, and he continued it in the off season. It's on the players now to make him look better, and if they are a top 3 West team next year, it's very likely he'll win Executive of the Year, because I haven't seen this much praise for the Lakers in the offseason in a very long time. I don't think we even got this much praise when we traded for Anthony Davis. Matter of fact, I was seeing a lot of, there's a chance that the Lakers might not make the playoffs after they had acquired Anthony Davis. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I actually watched guys say they might not make the playoffs, let alone
because they thought they gave up too much.
Yeah, which was just stupid. I don't even understand why you would think. The same people who said they gave up too much said the Lakers didn't have enough to win a championship with a Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, and a Josh Hart team. Well, which one is it, guys? It can't be both. Which one is it? Well, in the end, what happened? In the end, Lonzo's done for his career. Brandon Ingram made an all-star team, but he's okay. Josh Hart, great role player. That's about it. And even the draft picks that you got, one of them we even got back indirectly. So it's hard to take those guys seriously when they will contradict themselves consistently. That's what they're really good at, is contradicting. I don't know if they pay attention to what they say, uh, or they're maybe not wanting to. Maybe they're trying to appease a certain crowd, get somebody riled up. Just I can understand if there's a Skip Bayless type kind of setup where you want to be the bad guy so you can get the attention. But it's still stupid. Either be the guy or don't be the guy. I think if you're more authentic and you're the bad guy, that's I guess more admirable, at least in my book. But I guess those guys are making millions of dollars doing something, doing what they're doing. So I guess they know what they're doing.
Well, Anthony has a good point, and I'm going to give him props on this. He said we had Rondo, Dwight, McGee, Morris, Caruso, of course, KCP, LeBron, AD, and Green. Come on, this new team is not that. Nor am I going to say right now that they are that, but they do look pretty good on paper. They do look like they're a better team than what Denver faced in the playoffs. I do think that Denver's lost a little something, losing Green to Houston, and then also as well the big hit Bruce Brown on that massive new contract in Indiana. But it's only 1 year, Joe, so it's not like you're paying the guy for you do have an option in the second year, and he got paid. And I know you said it was an overpay, but it's only for 1 year when you really look at it. So when it comes down to it, maybe this team doesn't at first appear like that 2020 team, but I think it is a step in the right, the direction. I think it's a team that does have depth in several areas. I think for everybody out there who is shouting, need more wings, we got more wings that are capable to give us minutes. Is it the fact that it's going to give LeBron and AD hopefully less minutes in the lineup? I hope so, but I can't tell you for sure until I see this product. I would have liked a little bit more shooting here and there. Those guys are hard to come by, that can also still play defense. But again, for what the Lakers did, I think they did really well.
They have, on paper, they did very well.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to seeing what they look like at training camp. It's not about the acquisitions now, it's about the performance. And as far as them not being 2020, more than anything is they're not 2020 because they don't have that LeBron 2020. Yeah. If LeBron 2020 was playing in this year's playoffs, Lakers would have won the series.
I agree with that as well.
That's the difference. That's the big difference. You had AD in 2020 who should have been Defensive Player of the Year that year by a mile. Still wondering how that went the way it did. So you had a better AD that year than you did this year. For sure, they would have beat Denver. And, we did beat Denver. We beat them 4-1. That's what it was. They had almost the same team other than KCP switching teams, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want to dwell on the past. I don't want to compare I'm not trying to compare this team to 2020. It's kind of a waste of breath at that point. It's unrealistic. But they do have, I think they could have better depth of young players on this team that could perform and do what they need to do. And if they can, then that means LeBron and AD are able to not have all the pressure on them throughout the year.
Our old friend Luca, before we go, stated that nothing could be as far as an overpay as paying Draymond Green and keeping Clay. Fat dude, big mouth, and punching people. I still think the Draymond at 25 a year is a better deal than Dylan Brooks at 20 a year. Your thoughts? You're paying both 4 years. I'm not exactly thrilled with either, but I would say the worst contract is Dylan Brooks. I think that one just screams an way overpay.
I'd say you could be right. I'm not arguing against it.
I know you're not a big fan of Green either.
But Green is probably really the worst contract that was given this offseason. He was washed up 2 years ago, and you just gave him $25 million for 4 more years. Why? Why would you do that? He's dead. He's done. Klay Thompson is pretty much getting to his last legs, and we've discussed that's why Bob Myers left. Bob Myers likely wanted to blow up this team and start over. with Steph
Especially
Curry.
with that kind of salary cap, they're way over. They can't be able in this new CBA. Even after the trade of Poole, they will not be able to make maneuvers that normal teams can if they continue on this route.
Yeah, it's what it is, guys. Clay had unfortunate circumstances with his injuries, fluke injuries that happened, and Draymond is done. He can't play like he used to. Why would you give him more money?
Yeah.
They should have let him go. They should have done something with him. I don't. Maybe they did it so they could keep the contract for future stuff. I don't know. It doesn't look like it. But that's going to be a big mistake on Golden State's part, and I don't think they're gonna be worse than they were this last year.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate you joining us today for awesome coverage right here of NBA free agency day 3 right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Tune in tomorrow. We will have a recap of day 4 late, but we'll also, if any news breaks, we'll go ahead and have a show during the afternoon. Plus, you can catch us tomorrow at playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Sign up for free today and follow the game along with us. The game is going to be on ESPN2. It is the Lakers and Miami Heat. The Lakers start their preseason schedule at the California Classic. Looking forward to catching along with us. And it's going to be very interesting to see what type of things are you looking forward to seeing with this new roster, the Summer League roster that's out there. I know not all the players are probably going to end up playing. If they get a hangnail, they're kept out, all that stuff like that. I am hoping the undrafted players get a chance to play. What are you looking at tomorrow on playback, my friend? You're on mute.
I didn't put myself on mute. You must have done that.
I didn't touch it.
Maybe I grazed it. Sorry.
No worries.
I'm interested in seeing the free agent. I'm pretty I'm pretty sure that most of the guys they picked up as free agents are going to be playing.
I know Castleton is big of concern. Big eye. A lot of eyes are going to be on him.
Yeah, Castleton's going to be playing. I want to see how good Fudge plays. We're going to get a chance to see if Max Christie looks like a all-star next to everyone. That's going to be
they're
one
supposed
that I'm gonna be
to in their second year playing in the.
And
summer.
then Hood Shafino's likely going to play with as well as Maxwell Lewis. We're going to see. We're going to get a chance to see how these guys work as the stars of this particular team. And if Max Christie starts hitting threes and playing good defense, that's a good sign that he improved from last year. That's one I'm going to look at. And Castleton is because he's a center and a guy that actually is extremely high IQ player and someone that campaigned to come to LA. He was apparently his agent was telling teams don't draft him because he wanted to make the decision on where he wanted to go, and he ended up going to LA where he wanted to go. That's a interesting sign for me. I want to see what that's all about when it presents itself.
I'm looking forward to as well. I know Castleton is going to be, all eyes are going to be on him, even more than JHS and Maxwell Lewis among the diehard Lakers fans, because they're trying to see if they can find somebody that possibly could be here to help right away. JHS, I know that there's still a lot of people out there that have big plans for him, but he's not as needed to blow up right away as what we're seeing and what we need with a big man that's been explained by everybody there in the chat, the best Lakers chat room that's out there at the Lakers Fast Break. So I'm hoping Castleton, who our good friend Stone Hansen from the Upside Swings NBA Draft Podcast had rated as a second round prospect, as a second round talent, can actually start living up to that and use that, being undrafted as a way of motivation to get to the big roster a lot sooner rather than later.
It's fun. I missed basketball the moment it stopped, and now we get a chance to start watching basketball already here beginning of July. That's how I'm looking at it. I don't know enough about these guys yet. Alex Fudge is probably the one guy.
Great athlete, a very raw offensive game.
Very raw.
I'm being very nice.
Yes, very raw. The raw as raw can be.
Yes.
But a 7-foot wingspan, 6'8", 200 pounds. highly touted out of high school.
Yeah.
Didn't play particularly great at Florida, but these days I don't know who really plays well in college anymore. So we're gonna see how these guys look as pros for the first time.
Let me ask you this final question. WC threw it out there. It's something we've been talking about all day. Lonnie Walker IV did sign a 1-year contract from Brooklyn. We mentioned that earlier in the show. Was it a mistake not resigning Lonnie Walker?
No, just not enough space.
Yeah. What kind of consistent time is he going to get? He's just going to go back into the situation where he's with last season, where he might have a couple bad games and then he's put in the doghouse for a month. And that's unfair to him because he deserves a good opportunity.
Yeah, it just can't sign everyone. There's only 15 to a team.
Like
And
Dennis Schroeder.
And Dennis Schroeder got more money than I think the Lakers wanted to pay him, and I think that's why they went to Gabe Vincent.
They paid Gabe Vincent less a year.
Yeah,
so
yeah, it was a smart move, guys. You can't keep everybody. And Lonnie Walker had one fabulous game, important game in the playoffs, and we were able to springboard that into winning the series. But it's just not. It's just not enough minutes for everyone, guys. This team has to succeed during the regular season, playing at the very least 8 guys, maybe 9 guys throughout the year, and then that's going to have to shorten up to 7 to 8 when the playoffs come, and that's it.
I have a feeling they might. I really think they shouldn't bring back Wenyen Gabriel. If you have listened to us on the show for quite some time, as much as I like his spirit, he has very little skill and talent. Wenyen Gabriel, there's a reason why he's been removed off of 6 NBA teams. I just don't think you're playing winning basketball. It's very much when Wenyen Gabriel's out there on the court.
Well, if they can't get anyone else, I could see him coming back because he has shown a good motor. There's a continuity there. There's games where he's impressed very well and getting baskets consistently. But as far as the playoffs is where the problem is going to be. So if we can use him at least in the regular season, that'd be fine. But we need a center. We need a legitimate starting center, in my opinion, to get this team round up exactly where I want it.
And Boogie Cousins, we had him while he was here in rehab for a season, but he's also actually worked out since then. I know he's here in Vegas and he works out here constantly, but I know he's worked out for the Lakers when they were looking for a big before they went with Tristan Thompson, and they decided not to choose him then. I think that's all you need to know about Boogie Cousins at that point in time. So,
yeah, Boogie Cousins is done, folks.
That stretch he had with the Clippers, if he can hit from the outside, but athletically on defense, it's just, it's not. Yeah. No. As much as I like Boogie, it's really hard to say that he would be a good fit for the Lakers. I really think, again, if they can sneak out Christian Wood, I think they would just kill it. That would be one of the best possible scenarios for this summer.
God, I would really, really like to get Christian Wood.
You and I both, and if we're wrong, we're wrong. So, but
I don't think we're wrong on that one. That would be the perfect setup, especially for what you're going to pay him. Oof, man, that would be a steal. That would be the biggest steal in my book of the offseason if you're able to get a starting center for the vet minimum with that kind of skill.
WC, as I've always explained here over the past few years, I've tried to be nicer. Since we got a larger audience, I've tried to be nicer to Tristan Thompson Kardashian. But the thing is, if you ask me TT or Mo Bamba and you put the proverbial gun to my head, proverbial, mind you, not the real thing. Stone said neither. I guess I'd say Mo Bamba, but both are just not, there's a reason why they're still out there. Tristan, remember, didn't play in the league for almost 2 seasons. Almost 2 full seasons. And the thing is, when they brought him back, he had like 45 seconds, of good play. And I think he's better fit for the Y at this point in time.
Agreed.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I would like to go a show without talking about or using the word.
It's going to be hard. Word. Okay. But you know me, I like to add that TTK to it. So sorry. Sorry. But Christian Wood, again, Adam agreed, would make us all win in free agency all over. That would be awesome indeed. We'll see what happens. If it does happen and news breaks on that or something else within the Lakers community, we're going to go ahead and break in with a breaking news show as soon as we can, if that's the case. Otherwise, we'll be here tomorrow night to recap the Lakers' first preseason game. Plus, also as well, we'll be able to recap day 3. Just to let you know, for all new viewers and listeners, we are actually, during the regular season, we will be on right after the game. Just to let everybody know, after every game we're on and going ahead and giving a recap of everything going on with the Lakers. But yes, tomorrow night, if we don't hear anything, we don't see anything new, we'll be on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, and we'll be on tomorrow night to recap day 3 and also the first day of Summer League with the Lakers. WC says, can't wait for Summer League tomorrow. Zangerstein says, get Wood or Plumlee first. Then, yes, you can have TT or Wenyan as a cheerleader. Oh, Z, you're always the optimist on that, I tell you. Wenyan or I take Wenyan back. I'm just put it right there. Wenyan, between Wenyan, TT, or Mo, I'd probably say Wenyan. I give you Wenyan. Just because he hustles, and I always am impressed by that. So yes. But I tell you what, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate it. If you have not, again, that's your Anthony. That's like it. If you're bottom of the barrel, you have to get something. But I'm hoping the Lakers would go in a different direction than either of those 3 guys. How about that? How about that? But again, Christian Wood would be our number 1 choice. Dwight Howard. See, we still get the Dwight Howard still in this chat as well, my friend. Isn't he playing so well in China?
I think it's Taiwan.
Taiwan. Okay.
I don't know what that means in Taiwan. Didn't he have a triple-double over there? And
yeah,
I don't know.
That'd be too easy for him to just like say, you know what, I want to go ahead and play in Taiwan if that's the case. But
good for him.
Yes, absolutely. Good indeed. But it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you watching, listening. We'll be back tomorrow, absolutely, to cover day 3 of NBA free agency, the Lakers' first preseason game. Looking forward to it. Anthony, we're getting to the bottom of the barrel on these backup centers, just to let you know. That's why we're all in love with Christian Wood right now. But it is so great to have you here. Rodell's shooting threes in Taiwan. No thanks. He's all about fun. He always has been, and he always will be. But then again, that's Dwight Howard for you. So for Joe Soro from LakersBall.com, and also as well, Simblades with a Y.com, it is Gerald Glassford. Hope you're having a great 4th of July weekend. Looking forward to having fun on the 4th as well. And looking forward to a great game tomorrow. And also some more big NBA free agency news right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.